Hey, we are once again looking at some of the best games coming out in 2025. I've already done roguelikes and idle games, so if you want to see those games, check out those videos, and any other genres you want me to look into, let me know. I'm not going to mention Silksong again because you already know about it. We're all hoping it comes out this year, but we'll have to wait and see. But I will keep going for as long as I can until I run out of games to find, so keep watching to see some of the more obscure Metroidvania games releasing this year. Let's start off with Mariachi Legends, a game that's undoubtedly one of the nicest looking pixel art Metroidvania games that I've seen. Mariachi Legends is a brutal, combat-oriented Metroidvania game that's set in the heart of Mexico. In this game, you play as a detective that's done a deal with death, and like everyone who sells their soul to the devil, you're gonna have to pay that back. This game involves leveling up. It has a lot of fighting mechanics, including parrying and different weapons. Everything from guns to swords to whips to magic. So there's a lot there, and you can tell there's a lot of attention to detail in terms of the visuals here. Earthblade comes to you from the creators of Celeste, one of my favorite indie games of all time, so be expecting a bit of an emotional journey here. You play as Névoa, the child of fate, returning to Earth at long last, in a game which has action but also a lot of exploration as well. Another really gorgeous looking pixel art game. Earthblade has fantastic looking environments, and I'll be expecting some challenging platforming as well. This is one of those games that hasn't told us too much about the mysteries that we should be expecting, but definitely an intriguing title. Crowsworn is stylistically so cool. That's why I joined the Kickstarter, and I feel like I'm talking about this game every year, but surely the year 2025 is the year of Crowsworn. This is a dark fantasy action game that has so much fighting mechanics going on and over 30 different bosses to interact with. When I say interact, you're going to be trying to take them out aggressively. There's been a curse in the land of Fearanndal. It's tricky to say that. And because of that, there's monsters traveling all over the place, and you're going through clearing that to try and unlock the mysteries that every Metroidvania game needs to have. I'm expecting Crowsworn to have some of the best fighting mechanics that you'll experience in any Metroidvania game, and some of these hand-drawn environments and animations are stunning. I don't think I can get any more hyped up for a game than I am for Crowsworn, so fingers crossed. Savior has one of the most impressive trailers that I think I've seen for any Metroidvania game. It is once again an action-adventure platformer game that's set within this fantasy sci-fi style world that reminds me of some of those classic fantasy movies of the 90s era. Set within a world in which the strong have become oppressive, Savior allows you to become the person that has a huge impact upon this very open world that has so many different environments and very impressive pixel art, especially when it comes to the background art and the animations that you'll see. Some really cool fighting mechanics have been shown off with really precise melee combat, but I think the storyline for this one could be something very unique. If you haven't already, I'd recommend going and looking up a little bit more information about Savior. Mandragora is quite unique when it comes to the games we've seen so far, and a large part of that is due to the more zoomed in perspective that you will play through, and also the fact that this game has some Souls-like elements, so expecting a more difficult experience here. In Mandragora, the world is being taken over by monsters, and you'll see these huge enemies that you get to battle, and you'll play through a world that is slowly falling apart as you take on some pretty punishing enemies. Mandragora is a very gritty looking Metroidvania game. Akatori has long been at the front of Metroidvania fans' minds, and surely this is a game that we'll get to see a lot more of this year. You play as Meiko and fight through some interesting worlds using her staff. A female protagonist with staff seems to be a bit of a theme this year. I don't know why I get Avatar: The Last Airbender vibes when I watch through this trailer, but there's some really lovely looking environments. And maybe that's because you're raised within a temple and you embark on a journey and try to find some ancient gods, but undoubtedly a very lovely looking game, amazing pixel art, really cool looking battle mechanics, and some fun boss fights. Akatori is definitely a game that you should have on your list of Metroidvania games for this year. You might be forgiven for thinking that we'd start to run into some Metroidvania games that look a little bit on the basic side, but Eden's Guardian is yet another high quality looking title set within a fantasy world with a brutal background story in which gods and humans and history have all intertwined. And the thing that really stands out with Eden's Guardian, beyond the amazing looking pixel art graphics, is the elements of really challenging looking, almost precision platforming style mechanics that you'll need to use in order to get through the worlds. You play as a guardian who manages to break free of imprisonment and find out that the world is falling apart, And one of the really cool mechanics that you'll get to use is the ability to throw your sword and then teleport to it, which allows you to jump through these really challenging looking platforming sequences that we see in the trailer. If nothing else, Blade Shimmer offers us a different style of Metroidvania to play through in this sci-fi, cyberpunk-inspired style world. You play as Shin, a demon hunter that has amnesia, who partners up with someone who has the ability to shapeshift and manipulate time, which is going to come in handy as you try and take out those terrible demons. You will utilize the shape-shifting demon as a sword, which will allow you to make your way through challenging platforming sections, but really just kick the living daylight out of all those enemies that you find. There are a lot of skill tree and leveling up systems at play here in a really technical looking RPG style Metroidvania game. Be expecting a very large map to explore as well. Being and Becoming is a really interesting looking atmospheric Metroidvania game that, to be honest, I'm having a bit of trouble trying to put into words what this game is about, but it does involve Souls-like mechanics, so we're expecting a pretty tricky and challenging gameplay. You play as a lucid dreamer and get to defeat and consume the souls of the corrupted. So you'll be delving into the dream world and then utilizing the enemies that you defeat to fight on your behalf, or at least getting some upgrades based on what they provide for you. It definitely has one of the more unique looking protagonists, and you'll have a bit of choice in terms of the direction and path that you take in getting towards the end. Definitely involves some in-depth lore, so make sure you got your thinking hat on and keep an eye out for Being and Becoming. Have I mentioned the word atmospheric yet? Yeah, I probably have. And Memories in Orbit is another atmospheric, insanely good-looking Metroidvania game in which you play as a robot, a nimble little robot that has some pretty interesting abilities. You'll be playing through the Vessel, which is this spaceship that's sort of floating endlessly through space, and acts as this kind of technological ark, full of ruin, overgrown, and a lot of machines that are not doing what they're meant to be doing. You'll explore and uncover the mysteries in this game and also upgrade yourself to find out a little bit about your identity and destiny. Some of the artwork here is exceptional. I'm going to finish here with Nevergrave, The Witch and the Curse, and to be honest, I probably could have done another 5 to 10 very good looking Metroidvania games, but I feel like we've reached the limit for this video. So if you want me to look through some of the more obscure Metroidvania games, let me know. But Nevergrave is very unique in this list as it has roguelike elements and also the ability to play in co-op multiplayer. It has some pretty traditional looking Metroidvania action platforming style mechanics, but then also the ability to take over and possess the enemies to reach new areas, in addition to some interesting looking village building mechanics, which I'm really curious to see how they put that together, but a really charming looking game with a lot of followers at the moment. Nevergrave is a title that we'll hear more and more about as the year progresses. Alright, there's 12 or so Metroidvania games to be looking forward to and following in 2025. If you watched this far through, I'm going to ask that you subscribe, leave a comment about which game that you like. It's a really easy way, and YouTube likes it when people interact with the video, and it's completely free. If there's any other genres you want me to have a look at, let me know. Thanks for watching.